All right, so when you get back from someplace like, I don't know, Thailand or Argentina,
Yeah.
and you're digging through your backpack,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you find a stash of those colorful bills you totally forgot to exchange,
Oh, every time.
and you think, wonder if these are worth anything anymore. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the world of those currencies, the ones that don't usually make it onto, like, the financial news.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking exotic currencies.
Mm-hmm.
And to help us understand not just what they are, but, why we should care,
Yeah.
we have our expert joining us today.
Well, what I think is really interesting about exotic currencies is it's not like they're special edition or, collectible bills or anything. It all comes down to how these currencies are traded, or really how often they're traded. Think of it like comparing a busy, bustling farmer's market to a tiny little antique shop.
Okay, I'm getting that.
Right.
Less trading, less action. So how does that impact me if I'm holding on to some leftover, vacation money?
So it really boils down to two main things:
Okay,
volatility and liquidity.
okay.
Because, these exotic currencies are traded less, their value can change dramatically, way more than the dollar or the euro. So that handful of Thai baht you found
Yeah.
could be worth a lot more or a lot less than when you got it.
So you're saying my souvenir money could be a gold mine?
That's an interesting way to look at it. But what about that second thing? Liquidity.
Yeah, so imagine trying to sell something like a rare antique.
Okay.
It might take some time to find a buyer.
It could, yeah.
And it's kind of similar with exotic currencies.
Really?
Because fewer people are trading them, it might not be so easy to just exchange them quickly, especially if you're trying to exchange a lot at once.
So less like, switching out dollars for euros at the airport kiosk and more, like you said, finding that one specific antique collector. I get it. Now, the Investopedia article we have on this mentions that these exotic currencies often come from developing countries.
Mhm.
Is there, like, a connection there? So there is a connection there then?
Yeah, you're totally right to pick up on that. It's not like an absolute rule or anything.
Right.
But there's definitely a strong link. Developing countries, they're often in this constant state of change and growth. And that makes them, well, I guess more vulnerable to all sorts of things. Political stuff, ups and downs in the economy, you name it. Even global trends, like if the price of their main export suddenly drops, that can really shake things up.
So it's kind of like they're on this roller coaster, right?
Yeah, exactly. Big highs, but also the potential for some pretty steep drops, too. It's no wonder their currencies tend to be a bit more, shall we say, lively.
Lively is one way to put it. I think the article even used the term exchange rate controls at one point. Now, that was a new one for me.
Oh, yeah, that can sound a bit intimidating, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Imagine you're back in that antique shop. Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
You found this amazing piece, but the owner says one per customer.
Oh, so they're limiting how much you can buy.
Exactly. Some countries with these exotic currencies, they do a similar thing. It might be on buying, selling, or even how much you can take out of the country.
So basically, they're trying to control how much the currency flows in and out, right?
They're essentially trying to add a bit of stability to the situation, especially if their economy is closely tied to what's happening globally. But of course, that also means the currency isn't exactly flowing freely, which again adds to that whole exotic vibe.
This is really interesting stuff. So we're talking about economics, politics, even a little international mystery thrown in for good measure. But with all this talk about volatility and risk, I got to ask, are exotic currencies only for, like, high roller investors? Should the average person even care about this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, they're definitely not for everyone, I'll say. But I think their significance goes way beyond just, Wall Street and all that.
Right, yeah.
Because really, as the world gets more and more interconnected, understanding how these economies work, including those, unique currencies, it can really give you a much broader perspective on global finance as a whole.
That's interesting.
It's like almost like you're adding this whole new lens to how you see current events,
I like that, a new lens. So it's not just about, like we said, maybe striking it rich with some leftover baht.
Oh, right.
It's about understanding that bigger picture of how global finance really works. But let's, bring it back down to earth for a sec.
Sure.
How does all of this affect, say, someone planning a trip abroad?
Well, think about it. If you're smart about it, if you're really informed, understanding these currencies could help you make some, savvier decisions with your money.
Okay.
Like, imagine timing your exchange just right so you get the best possible rates for your trip.
Yeah, that could definitely make a difference.
Every little bit helps, right?
Absolutely,
Big.
especially if it means like more delicious street food or some
Mhm.
extra souvenirs.
Exactly.
So it's really not just about understanding those big financial headlines.
Mm.
It's about recognizing that even these exotic currencies, they have a real impact on the real world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it goes way beyond just personal travel, too. As more and more companies, expand globally,
Yeah.
getting a handle on these exotic currencies, all the nuances,
Right.
that's going to be crucial for international trade, investments, even just, well, navigating the world of business in general.
It's true. It's like we're getting a glimpse into the future of finance.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, in the future, these exotic currencies, maybe they won't seem so unusual after all.
That's an interesting thought. Who knows what the
Yeah.
future holds, right?
Who knows? But it's definitely given me a lot to think about. And maybe next time I see one of those currencies I've never heard of, I won't just think, how exotic.
Uh,
I'll actually, I'll think about what we talked about today, the forces at play, the risks, maybe the rewards, the whole story behind it. It's fascinating stuff.
it really is. Every currency has a story.
That's a great way to look at it. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and shedding light on this often overlooked corner of the financial world.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to talk currencies.
And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.